we acknowledge that we arrived to you 3 minutes past 10 o'clock. Well, the program had been stretched a little bit, but this is News Tonight at 10. My name is Patricia Lekoma Mpango, and straight away let us start off with the headlines. Captors to DRC government. Now, 14th series of Uganda Allied Health Examination Board exams released. In business, government unveils an online portal for small and medium enterprises. Mixed reactions from public following Mitchell's sacking. Welcome and into the news. Operation Shuja Commander Major General Diko Lum has handed over to the Democratic Republic of Congo government 22 Congolese nationals who were rescued from Allied Democratic Forces, ADF rebels. The abductees were handed over to Sector Commander Beni Territory, Major General Kasongo, at the function held at Kasindi Tactical Headquarters in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The captives include young girls and boys that were recruited in general areas of North Kivu and Ituri provinces. Operation Shuja Commander Major General Diko Lum says the captives were rescued from ADF camps during fighting.
ADF has really been dealt a big blow. We have done a lot of achievements, we have got a lot of achievements. But today specifically, we are here to witness a few of those who have been captured in the fight during the Shuja operation, where we captured a few of them as ADF soldiers, where we rescued women and children. But today, we were trying to bring back those we captured in the directions of Uganda and those we had captured taken to Uganda. We are now trying to hand them back to the Congolese government. And especially through my counterpart, General Kasongo, we are trying to give them back those we picked. And General Kasongo also, he had those Ugandans who were captured in the operations there, so they brought them back to us. We are not doing an exchange program. I repeat, we are not doing exchange. We are taking back Ugandans to be rehabilitated in Uganda and the Congolese to be rehabilitated in Congo so that they are integrated into their communities. That is what we are doing.
The Congolese nationals were handed over to Major General Kasongo Maroba on behalf of the Congolese government.
22 sont venus de l'Ouganda, 11 femmes et 11 hommes.
On the other hand, the Sector Commander Beni Territory, Major General Kasongo Maroba, also handed over 8 captives to Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF. Among the captives rescued were 7 Ugandans and 1 Ethiopian national.
There are 8 in number who have been brought from Beni. I'm sure you have looked at them, how they are well kept. These are people who have been in the bushes with the ADF. They are well kept, well looked after, and today we are trying to see how we can reintegrate them with their family members. Yeah, those are the numbers.
Operation Shuja Commander Major General Diko Lum says that it's a matter of time before the ADF is defeated because the joint forces have captured all ADF camps and restored sanity in Eastern DRC.
The 2 countries of Congo and Uganda, the 2 militaries of Congo and Uganda, it is definitely an important aspect of the population in these 2 countries to give us information. Because these children, these women who are being abducted against their wills. So it is our work as FRDC and UPDF to ensure the population get us to get any information about these activities.
Haruna Mtesasira, UBC.
The government has released the annual performance review for the financial year 2022-2023 with a recommendation of the program Best Review Assessment for budgetary guidance. While presiding over the presentation of this report, the minister in charge of general duties in the office of the Prime Minister, Justin Kasile Lumumba, identified a challenge of data gap and uncoordinated data from related government institutions.
The implementation of the financial year 2022-2023 is based on the full monetization of the country's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access as guided by the National Development Plan 3.
The program budgeting systems need to be standardized along the NDP 3 program. Implementation action plans. In this regard, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should work with and grant Office of the Prime Minister the user rights to review the section of the program-based system performance highlights before the budget framework paper and quarterly reports before quarterly reports are also approved. This would solve a problem where some MDAs are not developing and aligning their budget framework papers along the NDP 3 outcomes.
The assessment on the monetization of the economy was clustered in 4 categories. The first cluster is agro-industrialization through streamlining agriculture value chain. At the review stage, in the agriculture sector, government achieved 44% against the set target at the beginning of the financial year. Tourism managed to score 38%, mineral development scored 29.8%, petroleum development, government scored 73.2%, while natural resources, climate, land and water management, government scored 36.8%.
We have increased processed agriculture exports. These have gone up. If you look at the value added in the current prices of from 44,179 of the planned 35,240.
The second cluster is public sector competitiveness, where government scored 47.6% in manufacturing, and in private sector development, government scored 35%, while in digital transformation, government scored 60.9%.
We have increased quality of e-service. Then we also have increased usage of e-services. But key areas with poor performance, we have increased ICT human resource capital and reduced cost of ICT services.
In the living standard and productivity cluster, government scored 23% in human capital development and scored 35% in sustainable urbanization and housing. In regional development program, government scored 23%, while in community mobilization and mindset change, government scored 17.4%.
Of skilled personnel to limit human capital development. The current size of manpower is unable to cope with the rapidly expanding demands within the human capital development, especially health and education sub-programs.
In the financial year 2022-2023, in the infrastructure cluster, government scored 26% in integrated transport infrastructure services, while 2.7% in sustainable energy development, while innovation and technology development and transfer, government scored 0%.
Indicators that were not achieved were reducing the cost for transport infrastructure, then safety of transport services, acquisition of right-of-way for SGR and road projects, then rehabilitation of Kampala-Maraba MGR line.
The final cluster assessed is public sector transformation, which includes development plan implementation, governance and security, legislation, oversight and representation, and administration of justice, where government in overall scored 16.7%.
We have 7,377 people with disabilities in 962 groups supported under special grants for people with disabilities. Then we have also 1,275 children in conflict with the law rehabilitated.
The report identified the challenge of data delays and uncoordinated related institutions, which brings data gap during the exercise.
This year, our efforts to assess government institutions has continued to be constrained by serious delays in reporting on both OPM and the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We continue to face glaring data gaps, mostly in the submission by ministries, departments and agencies, and local governments, as well as in secondary data and information that we collected from the program secretariats.
Government is pondering on adoption of program-based approach in the assessment to guide the budget allocation as per the National Development Plan 3.
The new approach must evaluate linkages of systems functionality and results. The focus has to be measuring the contribution of programs' performance and how they are tailored towards increasing average household incomes and improving the quality of the lives of Ugandans.
The presented 2022-2023 National Annual Performance Review Report is pending cabinet scrutiny and appropriate action in achieving development goals. Abdunasir Luwama and Lydia Chomkama for UBC.
Uganda is set to reopen its embassy in Sudan, but this time it will be in Port Sudan due to the situation in the capital, Khartoum. Uganda's ambassador to Sudan, Dr. Rashid Yahya Semudu, said 18 countries have already opened their embassies in the war-torn country, and Ugandan government officials will be paying an assessment visit to the embassy location. Meanwhile, the Islamic University in Uganda, IUIU, has signed an agreement with the International University of Africa for their war-affected students to study in Uganda.
The country, with Uganda slated to open hers in Port Sudan.
Which is kilometers nga 10 okuva Khartoum awali olutalo ekitundu ekyo kyo kati kirina emirembe tekiri mu ntalo kati ensi endala 18 zatusooseeyo ne gavumenti yaffe mu kulaga okulumirwa n'okufaayo n'enkolagana wakati waffe ne Sudaani kwe kusalawo okubeera nti negulawo ofiisi.
Uganda's ambassador to Sudan, Dr. Rashid Yahya Semudu, says the move will enhance trade relations between Uganda and Sudan, as well as help Ugandans who have been stranded there.
Obulungi bw'Abannayuganda abayinza okuba nga bakyaliyo baafuna obuzibu nga tubadde tetubamanyi n'abakyaliyo betumanyi betugezaako okuyamba abatonotono abakyaliyo n'okugenda mu maaso n'enkolagana ebaddewo mu by'okusuubulagana wakati wa Uganda ne Sudan nti badde basinga okutwala emmwanyi za Uganda.
Meanwhile, the Islamic University in Uganda and the International University of Africa have signed an agreement to facilitate war-affected students with their studies.
It's been giving us a hard time whenever we thought about those students. And they have been calling us, but I have to thank Engineer Dauda, because whenever I got worries after receiving continuous contacts from the students, I was sharing the concern with the Engineer Dauda, and from time to time he was also calling me to share with me some concerns which he normally gets from the students.
Islamic University in Uganda, IUIU lecturer Professor Ismail Simbwa Jagenda says the first step would be to look at the finalists.
Them and they complete their studies here under our arrangement. So it's a big accomplishment, and we want to thank, first of all, the government of Uganda that was able to help in evacuating the Ugandan students who were stranded, but also want to thank our cooperating partner, International University of Africa, which already has a memorandum of understanding with us over the last 15 years and has helped actually to train some of our staff. Now I think it is our turn also to assist.
Sudat Kaye and Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Now, government, in partnership with the private sector and development partners, has unveiled an online portal for small and medium enterprises. State Minister for Investment and Privatization, Evelyn Anite, says the portal will act as a marketing strategy, hence increasing product access to marketplaces.
So it shows that the SMS.
To demonstrate how it works, Minister Anite began by signing into the portal.
3, 2, 1.
Upon success, she went on to purchase some products using the same platform. This clearly indicated that the speed of the captain is always the speed of the team.
So whatever we're doing here is strictly about business. And when we want to talk business, you have to ask us, what are the enabling environments? Or what are the enablers that we have put as government together to ensure that you do your business effectively? So I believe that the SME portal is one of them.
To her, this is an opportunity for small and medium enterprises to market their products.
The customer will not take your product if the product is not packaged well. So packaging of your product.
It is being done in partnership with the private sector and development partners. Both Feed the Future, an American development agency, and MTN Uganda agree that this is the way to go.
Having over 18 million subscribers, many of them are SMEs. So we keep asking ourselves, what more can we do for these SMEs? So these strategic partnerships are very, very critical.
Digital platforms like UIA's portal offer significant benefits, such as cost reduction, improved operational efficiencies, access to new customers, and enhanced business growth.
This, however, is not conclusive, as all businesses still require close monitoring for transactional success.
You're in hospitality, you have to put someone at the gate from the watchman to tell you how many people entered your business that day. Yes. Because you're monitoring your business remotely, they will tell you, no, madam, today the business was very bad. Nobody came. Before you know it, they were actually selling their products. They go and bring their product. They start their business in your business.
This emphasis is in agreement with that of Director General, Uganda Investment Authority, Robert Mukiza.
So all these Muntu Awansi, as you speak about, all the small businesses in the different regions, we need to onboard them onto our portal. But there's an element of capacity building, there's an element of education, how you get onto that. So we shall go to each region to be able to populate this portal. And with that, we shall educate them and all that, how to access the markets.
All the services are going to be put online. The incentives, you don't have to come to my office, you don't have to go to the Director General of UIA's office, you just have to go to the portal and you will get all the services.
The new SME portal remains a de-risking mechanism for businesses through digitization and digitalization. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Minister of State for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, has challenged parents to view themselves as core stakeholders in the provision of quality education to their children. Dr. Kaduchu made the remarks during the Protect Education in Emergencies conference held at Arua City and organized by the consortium of partners implementing EQUATE project in refugee camps of northern Uganda.
The consortium of development partners, spearheaded by World Vision, is currently implementing equitable access to quality and transformational education, a project for refugees and host communities with funding from the European Union humanitarian aid.
Our education footprint is in over 45 districts in Uganda. So what we're doing in West Nile is a subset of the work that we do in 45 districts in the entire of this country.
This is from a project that is supported by ECHO, that is funding Rise West Nile together with other partners, World Vision, Sheffield, and Widow International.
The head teacher, Rhino Camp High School, Sanyu Martin, noted that inadequate teachers and classrooms remain a big challenge. He attributed the low number of teaching staff to the attitude of many teachers who do not want to work in rural areas.
Most of the teachers have negative attitude to work in the settlement, and that brings about high teacher turnover. On top of that, some projects come with good programs with the recruit teachers, they end abruptly.
According to Lamo District Education Officer Barnabas Langoya. Many parents in settlements contribute negatively to education as they force some of their children to first go to the garden before going to school.
Now, some of our refugees, they have many children. Yeah. And sending all of them to school, they would prefer to send the younger ones and leave the older one in garden work or some community work that would raise some money for the family. So it is still our mandate as local government to ensure that all these children go to school.
Learners from refugee hosting areas of Rhino Camp and Palabek in Lamu district have requested government and other stakeholders to work on the challenges that are hindering provision of quality education.
We are 310 in a class being helped by 2 teachers, and which cannot help the learning program to continue safely.
To help us in Palabek refugee settlement and different camps so that we recover from the crisis that we are in. We start achieving the quality education because your time of being a leaders in this world is numbered now, and we are the people to replace you.
Paul Kenya is the head of office UNHCR Aruam. He says some challenges are due to inadequate funding.
Education is a right, and we approach it as UNHCR from a rights-based perspective. World Vision also through ECHO support, Japan, UNICEF, and the Ministry of Education has supported many schools in the settlements. Due to the reduced funding available to UNHCR and the partners, challenges are coming in all sectors. UNHCR, for example, is only able to provide sanitary pad for students between 10 to 17 years old, which doesn't cover everyone who needs them.
The Minister of State for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, challenges parents to play a pivotal role in shaping moral behaviors of children in determining quality education in schools.
We have this education policy, the Act 2008, and it has clearly indicated and stated that education is a shared responsibility. The parents have got a cardinal role. There are a lot of issues that needs our counseling. But the first counselors are your parents. The parents need to sit the girl and the boy down.
Citing rampant strikes in northern Uganda, Minister Kaduchu says lack of commitment from many parents is deterring efforts for quality education in the country.
Why is it that every strike happening is taking place in West Nile? We've never heard about strikes in other parts of the country. Even when there was a strike in the university, it was in West Nile University, in Imuni. But it has been found out our students are getting derailed. Many of them sneak drugs in schools.
Joseph Odama, UBC News.
Now, the Islamic Medical Association of Uganda Health Care Professionals at Mukono Regional Referral Hospital have elected Dr. Chigongo Hassan Muzaffar as their new chairperson. This is in a bid to strengthen their commitment to medical professionalism and service delivery to their country.
President, Islamic Medical Association of Uganda, Professor Majid Kajimu, has stressed urgent need for a dedicated place of worship within the hospital premises. This, he highlighted, is one of the major objectives of the association, to provide a space where Muslim healthcare workers can find solace and strengthen their faith while serving their patients.
We want you to be the best of people when you are serving our communities, telling them to do what is right and forbidding what is wrong in the health sector. So please make all the efforts as a branch. There are so many activities that you can initiate and do. You can mobilize funds locally and from the district, from the districts around. Wherever you go, you can go to any district as an organization, using members who are there to have projects. For example, the project of organizing prayer places should be by the branch.
Professor Kajimu underlined the importance of professionalism and medical expertise in advancing quality health care to Ugandans and other people living in Uganda.
As you see a patient, you ask yourself, what does God want as you interact with the patient? What does God want from me as I manage this patient? Answer that question. Answer the question. 2, what does the patient want? 3, am I doing good? 4, am I doing harm to this patient? Whatever I'm doing. You may think you are doing good, but you may be doing harm. For example, somebody may be allergic to some medicines, and before you continue giving them, then you're causing harm. And number 5, am I fair? So that's how we add value to the medical ethics.
He instilled in the attending medics a sense of responsibility, reminding them of their sacred duty to provide love and care to their patients.
IMAO is a specialized organization. It's an elite organization. People who are in the medical field, whom God has given that privilege to look after. So please be proud of this organization, that God has given you that opportunity to serve in the health sector and do it diligently. And again, for that Islamic teaching, which is listen to Allah, what He's telling you as a health professional.
Corruption and intrigue were warned against, as these practices can tarnish the reputation of both individual healthcare providers and the medical profession as a whole.
The resources may not be there, but because we need to take it out there for other people to know our existence, visibility in the community and within the health professions, that one will come back to you. Professor was emphasizing the prayer. It is good, somebody who is religious. Whatever he does, he asks himself 2 questions. Is this thing godly? Am I doing it according to the Allah's wish?
The highlight of the event was the election of the new chairperson for the Mukono IMAO branch, Chigongo Hassan Muzaffar.
Uphold the Islamic norms in the medical profession as stipulated by the IMAO Constitution. 2, to coordinate IMAO activities in the areas that I cover under my jurisdiction, and wherever called upon by other members of our association.
IMAO elections is a significant step forward for the Islamic Medical Association of Uganda. It reinforced their commitment to medical professionalism, the care of their patients, and the importance of faith in their daily lives. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Now, cassava farmers in Teso sub-region are counting losses as cassava brown streak disease continues to ravage their gardens. Helen Chola, one of the Muru farmers in Olio sub-county Serere district, confirms that the disease causes rotting of the tubers, thereby making them unusable.
And then you make a mother of 7 children, 71-year-old Helen Achola, a primary 6 dropout, found her fortune in farming, a venture that has helped her educate her children up to university level.
Naro came and taught me how to plant nuts. I started with the nuts. Then from there I changed when I saw that nuts I could not get proper market. I changed and started growing cassava, whereby I have a lot of cassava. I have more than 10 acres of cassava, and they're the ones helping me to educate my children, to treat me, to eat, and everything. I help even some of my brothers and sisters.
Initially, Achola used it to deal in local brew, commonly known as Waraji, until 2001, when the National Semi-Arid Resources Research Institute, one of the National Agricultural Research Organization institutes, selected her among the farmers to take part in groundnut growing.
So 2004, I decided to buy land. I had no compound. I was renting. I was selling Waraj. So I bought a land and I built my home. I have a home now. I have a compound. My children are well educated. Some of them are in Canada. Some have even gone outside the country working. Some are lawyers. So through Naro, that's the way I got money from Naro.
Helen grows cassava, simsim, and groundnuts. However, Cassava brown streak disease is giving her sleepless nights as all her investment is going to waste. The disease can cause 80 to 100% yield loss as it leads to rotting of the tubers. She is calling on government to come to the rescue of the farmers.
Can spend about 5 million to plant and weeding, but you get that after selling you get a loss. You get a loss, proper loss. But because of there's nowhere we can change food like in Serere here, we depend on cassava. So we plant even when they are rotten. Unless what we ask the government is to come and help us.
National Crops Resources Research Institute, NACRI, located in Namlonge, has completed research on genetically engineered cassava that is resistant to cassava brown streak disease but cannot avail it to the farmers because currently there is no law to that effect.
We have successfully developed varieties of cassava using genetic engineering approach. We have 29 varieties we have at the moment that are candidates for release to farmers. These are all highly resistant to cassava mosaic disease and cassava brown streak disease. These are the two diseases that have been devastating cassava in the whole of Africa, and there have been very high losses suffered by farmers, in excess of $100 million per year if you put the two diseases together. So over the last 8 years we have gone through a process, a long process, but finally we have candidate varieties that we feel will do very well on the farmers' fields.
Farming in Uganda provides livelihood to over 70% of the population, and it is therefore critical that challenges affecting the sector are addressed urgently. Adiana Kuti, UBC.
The Minister of State for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Muyingo, has urged new health institutions to ensure teaching of students in accordance with public service structures. Muyingo was representing the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataham-Seveni, at the release of the June 2023 Uganda Allied Health Examinations.
Uganda Allied Health Examination Board has released the 14th series of the June 2023 exams that were conducted in 30 allied health training programs and 223 allied health examination centers. A total of 22,331 were registered for these exams, of which is attributed to the adequate coverage of curriculum content.
And the candidates having had adequate exposure to practicum sites.
For the board to register more success, it has urged the Ministry of Education and Sports to address the gaps in health training institutions, including increasing the number